Let me read to you a passage from the 19th chapter of St. John's Gospel, verses 25 to 27. It's the Gospel for the Feast of Mary, Help of Christians on May the 24th. St. John writes, "Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. Seeing his mother there, with the disciple whom he loved, Jesus said to his mother, 'Woman, there is your son.' In turn he said to the disciple, 'There is your mother.' From that hour onward, the disciple took her into his care." That's from John chapter 19, verses 25 to 27. It leads us to think of Mary. Mary, our help. What do I mean? Well, let me begin this way. You know, for at least 8 centuries, each pope has had his own personal coat of arms that serves as a symbol of his papacy. It seems that the first pope whose arms are known with certainty is Pope Innocent IV, from 1243 to 1254, although some heraldic scholars have them going back further to Innocent III, from 1198 to 1216. One feature of all of them, up to Blessed John Paul II, who was Pope from 1978 to 2005, is that above the shield is placed the papal triple tiara, the one striking departure from this long custom being the arms of Pope Benedict XVI. On his own coat of arms, the episcopal mitre and pallium replaces the papal tiara. However, in the coat of arms of the Holy See and of the Vatican City-State, Pope Benedict XVI decided to keep the tiara, not the mitre. All the popes portray the 2 keys of the kingdom of heaven, situated behind the shield and showing above it. Usually, one of the keys is silver, the other gold, representing the power to bind and loose on earth and in heaven, given to Peter in Matthew chapter 16, verses 16 to 19. Now, one very distinctive feature among these papal coats of arms is the figure on the shield of Pope John Paul II. It was a large cross with the figure M placed under the right arm of that cross. It portrayed the cross of Jesus Christ with Mary his mother at the foot of that cross. I clearly remember when, at John Paul II's commencement of his pontificate in 1978, his coat of arms was published and explained. On the shield of that coat set forth Mary, the mother of Jesus, and her involvement with the redemptive work of Christ, as being prominent in his papacy from the start. I'm sure that there would have been many, even perhaps some Catholics, who viewed such a statement as, well, idiosyncratic and an inappropriate intrusion of the new Pope's personal Marian devotion into the public program of the papacy and the Church. But it was not. That pictorial statement, suddenly appearing in papal heraldry, affirms that Mary is the mother and representative of the Church, the help of all Christians, the one above all who was associated in the work of redemption with Jesus Christ her Son, who is the one and only Redeemer of man. There she stands at the foot of the cross, with the sword piercing her soul. That Mary is the Mother of God is based on the teaching of the Gospels, on the writing of the Fathers, and on the express definition of the Church. St. Matthew in chapter 1 verse 25 testifies that Mary brought forth her firstborn son, and that he was called Jesus. According to St. John chapter 1 verse 15, Jesus is the Word made flesh, and this meant that he assumed human nature in the womb of Mary. Inasmuch as Mary was the mother of Jesus, and inasmuch as Jesus was the same divine person he had been from all eternity, being so from the first moment of his conception too, Mary is truly the mother of God. The earliest fathers, such as St. Ignatius, St. Irenaeus, and Tertullian, understood this clearly. The position of Nestorius, denying to Mary the title Mother of God, was condemned by the Council of Ephesus in 431, which proclaimed Mary to be truly Theotokos, the bearer in the womb of God. The great Roman Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore was one of the first basilicas built by Pope Sixtus III in honour of the Virgin Mary. The purpose was to highlight the role of the Virgin as Mother of God in accordance with the decree issued by the Council of Ephesus. It gave new intensity and impulse to the Church's devotion to the Mother of Christ, and this has grown ever since. The two latest dogmas on Mary proclaimed by the popes have been Mary's conception free from all sin by Pope Pius IX in December 1854, and her assumption body and soul into heaven at the end of her mortal life by Pope Pius XII in November of 1950. That Mary was conceived immaculate and assumed body and soul into heaven have thus been declared by the Church through the declaration of these popes as being part of divine revelation. Now the long and the short of all this is that Mary, the Mother of Christ, is the help of Christians. That's the point. As our Gospel today portrays from John chapter 19 verse 25 to 27, she is the gift of Christ to all of us who are his disciples, and we are Christ's gift to her. She is our mother, we are her spiritual children. We ought to look on her as the heavenly Queen Mother, who has immense influence before the throne of God. Her intercession is incalculably effective, and she is our own mother in the order of grace. Let us rely on her then, invoking her intercession and looking to her example. It is generally recognized that Pope John Paul II was a great figure of the end of the 20th century and the first years of the 21st. His funeral was unprecedented in numbers, as was his beatification 6 years later. He was a Marian Pope, as were the great and holy popes before him. The lesson for all of us is, look to Mary, our Mother. She is the help of Christians. She helps us follow in the footsteps of her divine Son. She helps us by her prayers and her incomparable example. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.